Hello, campers. We have a guest counselor with us today. Everyone, please welcome actor Michael Shields.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it
Well,
and
thank
look forward
you.
to the conversation.
Us as well. So happy to have you here. So, the first question that we have to know is, what is your favorite horror movie?
I am a huge fan of the original 1978 Halloween. But of course, Teddy Told Me To is up there now because, hey, it's me. You know, um, I've been a big fan of horror movies ever since I was a teeny tiny kid. So there's not very many movies that I've watched in my life that I'm just like, ugh. But there's a couple, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want to badmouth, somebody's work. But for the most part, even the cheesiest B movie that you can put in front of me, I love. One of my favorites is Plan 9 from Outer Space. As a teenager, when I first saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I love it. And I literally recorded it and made friends of mine come over and watch it. So I've, you know, made at least 100 people watch that movie just because of my love of how bad it is and everything like that. So
So, you've been watching horror movies for a very long time then, since you were little. So, is there like a specific
yeah.
age that you glommed onto it?
My one of my earliest I'm sorry, remembrances is I was a child of about 2 to 3 years old. My brother and sister were babysitting me, and I was running around like a little madman, that you would as a 2 or 3 year old. And they happened to have Godzilla, the original Godzilla, on the TV, and I ran by, and Godzilla was on screen, and I stopped, and I was just fascinated from that point on. And, mom and dad obviously wouldn't let me watch really scary things, early on, but, I would sneak and find any way I could to find, movies and just continue to watch them all through childhood. I never really got scared of any movie. There was two that gave me a little bit of a problem, and it was Trilogy of Terror
Oh
and the
yeah.
original Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. And the
Oh,
reason those two scared me was because the monsters, the creatures, were small little things that could hide anywhere.
Hmm.
And that freaked me out. But after that, I have never been scared at a horror movie in my life. So
well, I mean, studies do show that watching horror, as horror fans we are, we have better regulated nervous systems. So there you go.
exactly.
You have the most regulated nervous system. So, how did you come about your role in Teddy Told Me To?
Well, Tom Devlin, who's the director of the movie, he has a museum out here in the Vegas area called the Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, where he's got, props from screen use, different pieces that he's made throughout the years. He's a special effects artist, and he was on this TV show called Face Off. And the second week that he was on, they had a category that was basically what scared you as a child. Well, he had a Teddy Ruxpin that scared him as a child, and he came up with his concept called Teddy Told Me To. And he actually won that week. And for years and years and years, they'd sit there and said, when are you going to make Teddy movie? When are you going to make it? And he just, And I happened to have met him and become friends with him. And I was working out at his attraction. He has a haunted house every year for Halloween. And, I'd done it a few years, and we're all gathered getting our assignments. And he goes, oh, I've got a special assignment for you, Michael. I was like, oh, cool, what? And he goes, oh, you're going to be playing Teddy. I'm like, awesome. So there was no talk of the movie or anything. Toward the end of the year, he happens to sit there and goes, oh, by the way, we're making the Teddy movie finally. I'm like, can I be in it? He's like, oh, you're in it. You are Teddy. Come to find out, they actually had a different script entirely written, and then they changed the entire script and the whole movie so I could be Teddy. And I was just so honored and happy to bring, one of his best creations to life. And it's been an absolute blast ever since.
Yep, both Sam and I watched the movie and we had an absolute blast with it. I loved the mask for Teddy. It was
Mhm.
so creative, but yet it had that familiar feel to it. And now knowing that it was based off Teddy Ruxpin, like you can definitely see it.
Well, actually, in the movie, at one point when they're going through the trailer area, there's a Teddy Ruxpin in the movie, which is his original Teddy Ruxpin, but
Oh,
there's no face on it.
Ah,
Yeah. So if you go back and watch it, look for
yeah.
that. You see
Okay.
Teddy Ruxpin moving and everything, but he has no fur on him.
oh, that's funny.
Poor
Yeah.
Teddy.
Actually, it makes it even creepier.
I bet.
So, Teddy told me too was your first movie. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I had no idea of ever being an actor or anything like that. And I've caught the film bug now, so I really enjoyed it and it's been a
good.
blast, like I said.
What was it like on set?
Well, whenever we first started the movie, again, I have no acting background whatsoever. And, I've always heard of method acting.
Mhm.
And I'm going, well, if I'm the villain, I really shouldn't be talking to people. I should have be standoffish. And me personally, I am not a people person. I don't like people being around, crowds or anything
Mhm.
like that. But as we went on, I was going, well, this is kind of stupid. I'm around all these cool, interesting people. I should start talking to them. And it broke me out of my shell, more or less. And I would sit there and talk to everybody. And then, 5 minutes later, be killing them.
So there are
Great way to
So,
make
yeah,
quite,
it,
friends.
I know, there are quite a few horror icons in the movie. Lisa Wilcox, C.J. Graham, Felissa Rose. There's others. Were you able to interact with any of the horror celebrities that were involved?
yeah. Actually, Lisa Wilcox was at the museum one time doing a signing.
Okay.
And we went up there just to meet her and everything. And this was before the movie. And my wife actually got to give Lisa a tour of the museum, and that made her day. And she's actually in the Teddy Told Me To movie. She's one of the victims.
Okay.
And, but Lisa Wilcox was a super nice, beautiful lady. Um, Tabitha Stevens, I don't know who you know if she who she is, but she's an adult entertainer, but she is an icon.
Hmm.
Truly, truly a beautiful, lovely woman, just nice as can be. And then Trent Haga, who plays like a younger version of me in the movie, we did not meet until we went to the LA premiere and we walked up to each other and it's like looking in a mirror. Well, he's 8 9 inches shorter than me, you know. So I was like, yeah, this is exactly like looking in a mirror as I'm looking down at him. So, but
Supposed to
yeah,
shrink when you get older.
yeah, yeah. And I've gotten to meet CJ afterwards, real nice guy and everything. I still have not met Felisa Rose. So at some point, I'm sure I will because, we'll end up doing something, I hope, together at some point.
Yeah,
So
that would be a
yeah,
lot of
I got to
fun.
meet quite a few of them. Another one that was really nice and I like is Drew Marvick. He plays Duke the Chainsaw Clown in the movie. Well, he's the director of Pool Party Massacre.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So me and him are having the big chainsaw fight. You know, I'm sitting there going, "Oh,
Great
I'm
scene.
yeah, I'm killing the director of Chainsaw or Pool Party Massacre. Awesome." So,
That's so fun. I kept looking at him in the movie going, I know who this is. Who is
Hmm.
this guy? I follow him on TikTok and I watch his cooking content. And I was like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, that's
yeah.
that's the same
Look,
person.
I am happy that he finally got. He's not wearing his hot dog suit as much. There for a while, he was just in that hot dog suit all the time. I was like, God. So yeah, he does have Drew Cooks, which is funny and actually pretty informative. So he does
Mhm.
make some good dishes.
Yep, not gonna lie, we've made a couple, so so, so as you had mentioned before, you've heard about method acting. Was there anything that you did do to prepare yourself for like a darker, sinister moments in the film?
No, the reason being, I have a very dark, sinister side of my personality, and it was not any stretch of the imagination for me to tap into that. So whenever I would go into a scene that I'm going to, kill somebody, I would sit there and go, okay, well, how would I do that if I was going to do it in real life? And, there's times where it's just, just pure brutality. Whenever I kill, oh my God, I forgot his name. When I kill Charles, he comes running through and I open the door, kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and
Hmm.
grab him and with the hammer. We actually won best kill at the Sin City Horror Fest that year for that kill. But he told me beforehand, he's like, don't worry about hurting me because he was, he's a military guy, so he's used to it.
Hmm.
So when I grab him and throw him against the wall, I grab him and throw him against the wall. Afterwards, he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe how strong you are for an old guy." And whenever I take the hammer and I'm sitting there hitting, again, if I was to do it in real life, I would go for the exact same spot over and over and over. And if you watch, I don't vary that hammer strike whatsoever. It's the exact same spot. And, that's just how it happens. Um, there were a few times where I killed people left-handed instead of right-handed because the way the camera was set up and everything. And I'm naturally ambidextrous, so that was not a big issue.
Okay.
For example, whenever I kill Chippy with the big circus hammer, I swing left-handed on that one. And whenever I kill Dot, the clown, um, I do it in the top of his head with my left hand. So, again, it just depended on how the scene was written and the camera angles and everything were.
Hmm.
But I would just tap into how, if I was to do it, I would do it. And, I think it turned out pretty good on most of them.
Yeah,
It
there are
definitely did. It
so
sounded like
many
this
great
role,
kills.
this role
Thank
plays to
you.
your strengths.
Yep.
So, being your first film, was there a moment during filming that meant a lot to you personally?
Um, at the time, no, but now going back to Dot the clown, where I stab him in top of the head, um, he was played by Daniel Rodriguez, and he became one of my best friends here in Vegas. Well, he died a couple years ago from brain cancer,
Mhm.
and so that one to me, has kind of hit home because at least I got to sit there and do that to him, and he got to be happy about it. And Terror Threads came out with a shirt for Teddy, and it's actually got his picture on that. And so that's one of my prized possessions,
Good.
just because his picture's on it. And every year when we do the haunt now, there's a painting of him as his character. His real character in this haunted house was Barnabas. And so they painted him as Barnabas and put his birth date or birth year and death year on there. And so when you go into the clown section, there's a picture of him there always, which I think is great on Tom's behalf and everybody involved.
Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice honoring
Tribute.
for that
Yeah.
Yeah.
person. And yeah, I probably would have really loved it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know he had a blast being killed. So
That's always the fun part in
yeah.
movies. I've been murdered in some of Michelle's movies, so it's always a blast.
I just like to kill my friends. It's fine.
This is why we're all still friends, because she just
Mhm.
kills us and she gets all that energy out.
I get it all out.
I understand. That's good.
So being on film can bring up some vulnerabilities, just because you're putting yourself out there in a way that is different than, your average everyday person. Is there any vulnerable moments as a first-time actor that you had on set, and how did your cast, crew, director, how were you maybe helped through that?
Well, I am not a very vulnerable person. I am cocky almost to a degree with my confidence in myself. And I've been like that ever since, again, I was a little kid. So, you know, nothing came about as far as that. Um, I just, completely believe in myself. And I don't care if it's my first time acting. The first time I went on, set and did the first kills, which happened to be the Grim Life Collective, were the first two people I actually killed, filming.
Mhm.
You know, I did not question anything. I did not question, his judgment, my judgment, or anything. I'm, like I said, the confidence in me just let me do what I wanted, how I wanted, when I wanted. So that was it. I
That's
wish I could,
awesome.
yeah, I wish I could sit there and say, I was more vulnerable. I'm not a vulnerable kind of person.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that the script was reworked so you would be able to play Teddy. Were you able to give any input to Teddy's backstory?
Again, being my first time there, I just went with what was pretty much done. There
Hmm.
were a few times where I sit there and said, well, what if we did this or that? For example, we're looking for a shot to kill somebody, and they're setting everything up, trying to figure out where they want to do it. And I go, why don't we just do it over here? Because this part of the yard, the Teddy yard with the trailer and everything, had not been used, and they were like perfect. So again, and another funny thing, I never actually saw a full script, before the movie.
Hmm.
I would sit there, and what we did was we actually were filming this during the haunt season. So from 7 till 10 p.m., we were doing the haunt. People would come through. So a lot of the people that you see on the surveillance cameras are actual customers coming
I
through the haunt
wondered.
itself.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wondered.
and then afterwards we would close the haunt down and we would start filming. And there were many times where I would sit there and right before the scene we'd get the scene, they'd sit there and go, okay, this is what we're doing, and we'd just go from there. Tom had a rule that no scene should take more than 3 takes, period.
Hmm.
And I would say 80% of all the movie is the first take. You know, when I killed Charles, coming out from behind the door, the Texas Chainsaw style, Texas Chainsaw Massacre style, we had to do 2 takes on that one because the first take, this is an old rusty door and it didn't slide as far as I wanted. So that made me mad. So I got, my strength even more behind it, and I slammed it open at that point. And from there on, it was 1 take. There were very few times that there were, more than 1 take. And I thought that was great because you don't start sitting there getting into your head thinking, oh, should I have done this? Should I have done that? It was, nope, that's good. Let's
Hmm.
cut, go to the next scene. So I think that helped me a lot.
Yeah. This is a kind of a two-part question. What was your favorite kill that you were able to do? And is there talk about a Teddy told me to two?
um, Obviously, the one I keep going back to is Charles and the Hammer.
Mhm.
You know, that was my favorite one because I actually was able to physically, throw that boy around, and
Poor kid.
and yeah, and like I said, we won for best kill, so that
Mhm.
always going to be a special one in my heart. All of them were great,
Mhm.
to be honest. There has been talk of Teddy Told Me To too, and it's more or less kind of on the back burners because we want Teddy to become a cult classic,
Mhm.
a cult movie, so people really know it and everything, and are excited for a second one. In the meantime, we've done several other movies and stuff, and I'm sure we'll get those into a minute. But for right now, it's just on the back burners and talks.
Okay. And any future,
Patience.
yeah,
Smart.
any future or past projects you'd like to promote?
Yeah, we've actually done several different movies with Tom now.
Mhm.
The next one we did was called Las Vegas Frankenstein.
Ooh.
And this is a reimagination of Frankenstein itself, but it's kind of done with a cheesy Las Vegas magician. And that was, really cool. And in that one, I'm more or less a background character. I'm in the audience at the magic show, and then later on, there's a big party going on, and I'm a cowboy. Um, and the next one after that was, oh Lord, um, we did Las Vegas Frankenstein, and then The After Dark, which is a punk rock vampire movie. And that one's really cool. That one, I'm a homeless guy in the alley, and we got Gangrel, who used to be a WWE, WWF wrestler. He was a vampire for the wrestling promotion. And so he's the leader of the, if you will, the snobs, the aristocratic vampires,
Mhm.
and then there's a group of punk rock vampires. And one of the aristocratic vampire women, she falls in love with one of the punk guys, and so it ends up becoming a war between the two factions. And that one's really cool.
Very Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Exactly.
what I was thinking.
We did also Nameless, which is again a slasher movie, and that one I believe is coming out May 12th on Tubi.
Okay.
And in that one, in that one I get to play the dad of the killer itself. And my wife in that one, me and her are sitting on the bench, at the gas station, and boom, robbery occurs. I get shot, so the back of my head blows out, and it's the first time I've ever got killed on screen. So I was excited for that.
That sounds like fun.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, and then we recently just had the world premiere, and this one we don't know when it's going to be coming out on Tubi or any platform itself. It's called Bloody Bluff, and it's a vampire movie set in the 18 like 60s, 70s. So it's a period piece. In that one, I get to play the town drunk, which I don't drink anymore, but I remember how to do it. So and one of the really cool things with that one is we got Butch Patrick, Eddie Munster,
hmm
to be in that movie as well. So I can
Awesome.
now say also that I have been in a movie with Butch Patrick. In fact, a couple of years ago we did an Easter haunt, and Butch was there for that because we were doing a pilot for a TV show that never got picked up. But it would have been Butch and Tom going around to different haunted attractions and trying to revamp them, kind of like Bar Rescue or something like that.
Oh
hmm
yeah.
So so yeah, that was really fun. It was a couple of days of hanging out with Butch Patrick. He drove the original Munster Mobile up, so we all got to see it and everything. And just a nice
That's
guy.
cool.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you are doing slashers and also getting into sort of the universal monsters as well.
yeah,
So you are in Vegas, is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay. So any plans of doing like a casino cannibal type movie to
Well, obviously, you guys have figured out by now that most of these movies are low budget.
the
Um,
best kind?
so, for example, but for example, for Las Vegas Frankenstein, I was not involved with this scene, but I got to see the behind the foot scene footage and then the movie itself.
Yeah.
They went down to Fremont Street, did not have I probably shouldn't say this so they can't get caught, but they didn't have a permit for filming. So they did it guerrilla style. And they were literally running up and down Fremont Street, filming. And the people in the background, they're looking and shocked. It's their genuine reaction because they had no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if we would be able to get into a casino, with permits and,
hmm
and the casinos out here are so strict
Oh
on
yeah.
everything, you know, and so I don't know about that, but you never know.
hmm
Tom
Yeah.
comes up with great ideas. I've got a couple of ideas of myself for movies that I'm
hmm
trying to push onto him. So we'll see.
Sam and I recently shot a horror movie on a cruise ship, and it was one of those ask for forgiveness instead of permission
Yeah.
situations.
Yep.
So,
So like we don't have experience with guerrilla style at all.
no.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So,
I bet it was.
is there anything else that you would like to tell us about Teddy Told Me To, or any other projects you're working on?
Again, all the movies that I just mentioned, those for the most part are on Tubi for free.
Good.
So please go watch those. You can order DVDs through Plan 10 Pictures.
Okay.
They also have merchandise. One of my personal favorite things in the world. Don't know if you can see that, but it's a Teddy
Oh,
Told Me To action figure.
Oh,
oh, nice.
fun.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Whenever I heard they were making that, I was giddy. I was happy. I saw the original sculpt, and you know, again, in my wildest dreams growing up, I never thought I would have an action figure. Way younger, I thought, well, maybe as a baseball player, because I thought I'd be a pro baseball player at one point,
hmm
but I was too slow for that. excuse me. And but they also have t-shirts. So yeah, I've got the world's largest collection of Teddy t-shirts because I have custom printed a couple of them myself.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but yeah, you can go to Plantain Pictures, you can get that,
Okay.
you can get the DVDs, and you can always come by to Boulder City, which is a little suburb of Las Vegas,
Hmm.
and you go to Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, and they've got all the merchandise there as well. And you can take a tour of the museum, which is incredible. He's got pieces from when he worked on Puppet Master movies. So he's got a lot of the screen used puppet masters,
Yeah.
the little puppets themselves. Um,
Puppet
he has,
Master.
yeah, he has the original Poultrygeist costume. If you've never seen Poultrygeist, give it a watch.
Okay.
You know, but he's also, he's got stuff he's created. He just created a T-800 Terminator with the
Ooh,
red glowing eye,
nice.
which is
Okay.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, that, like I said, that's all through Plantain Pictures and Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. And I just ask everybody to check out Teddy, give it a watch, and the other movies,
Yeah.
and let's make it a cult classic.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it was Nameless that comes out May 12th on Tubi. Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay, we'll add that to our June review list, and so we'll review it in June. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with
Yes.
us, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you. You have done so much in such little time, that you've been bit by the acting bug. So I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to seeing all of your future projects.
Well, I
Same.
appreciate that. And any directors out there that need somebody, just contact me.
I may be giving you a call
I
later.
actually, that's great. When we went to the LA premiere, they had all the cast come up in front so they can introduce us and everything.
Mhm.
And I did in front of all this LA crowd. I sit there and go, "Oh, by the way, anybody needs me for an actor?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so not me. I am become a self-promoting, shameless, just trying to get out there."
You have to.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously, I reach out through you guys on TikTok, and
Mhm.
you know, I do that all day. I'll sit there and find somebody who
Yeah.
likes horror movies, and that's what I do, or Facebook. And again, when you make a low budget movie, like I'm
Mhm.
sure you guys know, you don't have any advertising, and so it's word of mouth, and that's what I try to do is just get the word out there about this movie
Yes.
because, I'm proud of it, and I really want people to watch it and enjoy it. It's not the scariest movie ever created, but it's a love letter to like the 80s
Yes.
slasher movies, and that's why we got all these icons in there because Tom knows all these people and they sit there and said, "Yeah, we'll be in your movie," which is, very few low budget movies get that many in,
Right.
a movie. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we were so like watching it going,
Like,
messaging each other because we're watching it in our homes going, is that? Yeah,
yeah,
this
that's
is, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. And whenever I tell people, they're like, "Really?" You know? So, and the other movies, we don't have quite as many, but to give you an idea, in Las Vegas Frankenstein,
Mhm.
we got Daniel Roebuck in that one. And you guys know who Daniel Roebuck is? Did you watch the new Monsters movie by Rob Zombie?
Yes.
He's grandpa in that.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And he's been in like other Rob Zombies movies,
Hmm.
and he's a detective in that one. And that was incredible because I sit
Yeah.
there and I talked to him for a couple hours, in between scenes, about this and that, because he was in some movies that I absolutely love. So I got to talk to him about those. You
Hmm.
know, it's it's just insane the amount of people that, Tom knows and he can get into
Yeah.
these movies. So it's always worth watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, congratulations on everything that you have
Thank
coming
you.
up for you. It's just watching you and Teddy told me to. It seems to be well deserved. So I'm I'm looking forward to all your projects.
Well, I
Mhm.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining
All right.
us.
See ya.